You know, this really does feel like a Christmas miracle.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's Christmas Day, and we somehow found a well-kept home with a cozy fireplace in the middle of this wasteland. Abandoned, too. What are the odds? And look, it's even snowing outside. It's like the heavens opened up and gave us this house and beautiful weather as a reward for persevering through this hellscape. See, I call that a Christmas miracle.
I'ma be real with you, Chief. This ain't no Christmas miracle.
Why is that?
I actually scouted this place out a few days ago while you were resting, and no, it wasn't abandoned.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, there was like this crazy prepper guy with a bucket on his head. Shit was wild.
And you threw him out?
Oh, get off your high horse. I tried to negotiate with him first. Look, bitch, this ain't up for negotiation. Get out of the fucking house or I'm coming in there and beating your ass.
First you bastards ruined New York, and now you want to kick a law-abiding citizen out of his private domicile? Hell no. You and Walrus Studios can eat my dick.
Also, that's not snow outside, it's ash. Did you forget we're in the middle of a nuclear exclusion zone, dipshit?
Well, thanks for ruining the mood. Hello everybody, and welcome to the first State of the Channel video in which I also briefly discuss my favorite games I played this year. Or to give it an acronym, SOTC. Actually, never mind. Anyway, let's get into the spirit of things by playing some unedited B-roll in the background while I talk. Bueno. So it's been a pretty wild couple of years for the channel, 2023 being especially noteworthy. Needless to say, none of us here at Walrus Studios expected one of our videos to reach over 200,000 views, let alone a 30-minute long breakdown of a tactical shooter. Not exactly a mainstream topic, as you know. But while celebrating the video's incredible success with my colleagues, there was something I failed to do, and I'd like to take a moment to address that before going over our plans for 2025. I also feel that Christmas is the perfect time to step back and appreciate all the people and things you may be taking for granted in life. So that's what I'm gonna do. Now let me put aside my usual snarky remarks for a moment and speak from the heart. Thank you. Thank you for watching the Ready or Not video, leaving a comment. And for those who subscribed, thanks for sticking around. You guys are a key part of what makes this channel worth pursuing. When I started doing YouTube 3 years ago, I never realized how much work it would be to write, record, and edit these videos all by myself. Obviously, there are worse jobs out there, but when you're 2 months into working on a video and have spent several nights in a row editing till the early hours of the morning, you start to wonder if it's worth all the effort. But it's the thoughtful comments you leave under each video that remind me it is worth it. You've given me a platform to express myself, and for that, I am truly grateful. Video games are an art form, one that I am deeply passionate about. I love reviewing the fun ones, the narrative-heavy ones, and yes, the controversial ones too. Those are the games I find most interesting to dissect, actually. In truth, I was extremely happy to see that the video that shot us into the spotlight was the one discussing a challenging, mature, and uncompromising game. The overwhelmingly positive reception was encouraging, and I remember thinking, maybe I can do this whole video game analysis thing. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching the Ready or Not video. And a special thanks to those who helped make it. It was a collaborative effort, and easily the most fun I've had making a video so far. But I'm bringing all of this up for a reason, and that is to say I'm frustrated that I don't upload more often, because I owe it to you, my subscribers. While I know that my upload schedule is a bit of a meme in the Walrus Studios community, which is funny, don't get me wrong, it's something I want to fix. The Backlog Blowout series was my initial attempt to do that. Obviously, it didn't work, seeing as Part 1 was uploaded in October 2023 and Part 2 in February 2024. Disappointing, to say the least. But I don't want to waste your time brooding over what could have been. It's Christmastide, for crying out loud. Ho 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 and all that shit. And on that jolly note, let's talk about our plans for the channel in 2025 and beyond, shall we? To kick things off, no, the long-form content isn't going anywhere. That is the bread and butter of this channel, and I have a video planned for either January or February of 2025. It's a long overdue review of a game I promised would eventually get the should you play treatment. Now, I wanted to be coy and say, ooh, what could it be? You'll just have to wait. But come on, you know what it is. It's Ready or Not, which finally escaped early access, dropped the DLC earlier this year, and as of writing, is set to release another one soon. After that, I'll start working on the cartel review. For real this time. No take-backsies. Now here's the big announcement. After much deliberation, we here at Walrus Studios have decided that micro-reviews are here to stay. The plan is to release them in between the long-form videos. That way, I won't disappear for several months, drop a video out of the blue, and then bolt back into the shadows. With this in mind, we have decided to indefinitely suspend the Backlog Blowout series. The micro-reviews are simply more efficient. I'm also considering making hour-long videos in the future, the caveat being that only games I feel strongly about will be considered. I do have a couple of candidates in mind, from both ends of the quality scale, funnily enough. Spec Ops: The Line is a game that's near and dear to my rear, and while everyone and their grandma has already covered it, I want to discuss it too, damn it! Would you tell an English professor to stop reading Catcher in the Rye or a nostalgia critic wannabe to never review The Room? Of course not! A Spec Ops: The Line video is basically a rite of passage for a game critic. Anyway, the other candidate is Agony. It's an awful game, but it's an awful game that's also kind of fascinating. The art direction is great, but the graphics are terrible. It has some of the most shocking content I've seen in a game, but it quickly loses its sting. It's a walking sim, but also a stealth game, an action game, an RPG, a possession game. Honestly, it would be faster to list the genres it isn't. Admittedly, this one's a pipe dream. I don't know if I'd be able to upload something this, explicit to YouTube. It is, without a doubt, the most M-rated game in existence. Other than Peggle, of course. Well, I think that just about covers everything we have planned for the future. So let's get back to the present because I'm not done with you yet. It's no great secret that I play tons of games throughout the year. Probably too many, let's be real. So to end 2024 on a proper note, I'd like to briefly go over my top 10 games of the year. To clarify, these are my top 10 games I played this year. Sorry, I don't have the money to buy every new release. That said, some games from 2024 did make both my lists. What, did you think I forgot about the shitty games? Here's the thing though, I don't want to spend too much time with the trash. So let's give them each a snarky remark and move on. Oh, and for reference, here's all the games I played this year. Got that? Great, let's go. Painkiller Overdose. More like Painkiller Overdosed on terrible level design. Silent Hill: The Short Message. You should leave this message on red. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Well, it currently lives in the Shadow of Tomb Raider 2013. Shellshock 2: Blood Trails. Hey, that's what my doctor wrote in my colonoscopy report. Afterfall Insanity. Don't worry, dear, we have Dead Space at home. Dinner. Waiter, send this dish back to the kitchen. Aliens: Colonial Marines. Stasis interrupted. Yeah, well, it shouldn't have been. Call of Duty: Modern Warfare 3, 2023. I didn't pay for it. Man Standing. Postal 3, Uwe Boll has a cameo, and it's somehow not the worst part of the game. Done. Now let's bring on the good times. The 10th spot on my best of the year list is always the hardest to fill. In the past, it's been the home of the good, but not great, the guilty pleasures, as well as the flawed but thoughtful games. This year, it was a toss-up between Shadows of the Damned and Imposter Factory, and after careful consideration, I decided to give it to the game that, despite its problems, was still a poignant study. I gave it to Shadows of the Damned. This game is dumb as shit. Frankly, I was embarrassed by how much I enjoyed Shadows of the Damned, because it is a stupid game. Your girlfriend gets kidnapped by demons, and you venture to the depths of hell to save her. Yeah, it's as basic as video game plots go. It's loaded with toilet humor and crass sex jokes, and the gameplay is fairly straightforward. But here's the kicker. It's a stupid game, but it's a stupid game that was made by talented people, which elevates it above your average stupid game.
You know, G, just because the highway to the underworld is stretched out before us doesn't mean we have to...
Is there a problem, Johnson?
Well, I'm just saying, demons are buttholes. You really wouldn't like it there.
Says the former demon. What's wrong? Lost your spine?
Shadows of the Damned is a delightfully unhinged roller coaster ride of a game, constantly one-upping itself with ludicrous set pieces and boss fights, the first one being a demon with a harmonica stuck in its mouth. but let me assure you it's nothing compared to what comes later. I'm only showing you footage from the first level because I wouldn't dream of spoiling the crazier parts of the game, specifically a scene involving a gun that's so absurd it left me and a friend who was watching in hysterics. Now, I can't defend every aspect of it, but I can definitely say I was thoroughly entertained by most of Shadows of the Damned. Garcia and Johnson's juvenile banter got a few chuckles out of me, and as for the gameplay, I mean, it's just Resident Evil 4. If you think I'm gonna complain about that, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Go on, feed me! Ah!
Anyway, the AAA industry needs to go back to making weird games like this, and that's the stone cold truth.
This is going to be an adventure. Our very own road movie. And the best part is, you never know what's waiting around the bend.
I'm not the biggest fan of superhero movies and games, and with a couple exceptions, I don't think the later Telltale games were all that good. The Guardians game was forgettable, A New Frontier was mediocre, and Batman's first season was fine, but again, not very memorable. So when I say that one of my favorite games I played this year was a Telltale game centered around the Caped Crusader, well, I'm just as shocked as you are.
I was committed to Arkham Asylum, where I escaped with the help of a mental patient named John Doe, after a bloody battle. I put an end to it all in the catacombs beneath the city. The Penguin, Two-Face, and Lady Arkham were the first real challenge I faced as the Batman, but they would not be the last.
Batman the Enemy Within plays the same as every Telltale game. You explore small areas, make choices, and hammer the Q&E buttons during the action scenes. But the perfunctory gameplay is in service of an excellent story, featuring the most compelling versions of these characters I've seen in a while. In here, the Joker is not an insane criminal mastermind, but a disturbed and easily manipulated loner, caught in the middle of what feels like a custody battle between Harley and Batman.
Who you gonna tell if you see anything that ain't on the up and up?
You, Harley. But don't worry, Bruce is my best friend. He'd never betray me.
Oh, sweet, innocent puddin'. Friends have the easiest access to stab you in the back. Now get out of here.
I call shotgun.
It's through the Joker that we explore Batman's impact on the criminal underworld, and by the end we're confronted with an uncomfortable question. Is Batman actually making things better for Gotham, or is he simply emboldening more criminals? Ooh, compelling stuff. Whatever your stance, I think we can all agree on one thing. Amanda Waller can go fuck herself.
You and me? I bet we'd make a damn fine team. I heard how you dealt with Lady Arkham. Not to mention the city's corrupt mayor, Dent.
I work with Gordon, no one else.
I appreciate loyalty, but that there, that's the issue.
It was a hard game to put down, as each chapter ends on a huge cliffhanger. Par for the course with a Telltale game, I know. But it's been a while since I've been this excited to play the next chapter in any of their games. It's well-paced, has interesting characters, and an intriguing mystery to tie it all together. 2 thumbs up from me.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. I begin and have no end. And I end all that begins. Who am I?
I don't give a damn. I told you 10 times. Our arrangement is over.
Death, Maury. I am death.
I was tempted to exclude this from the list due to Sony's bullshit and some ill-judged updates earlier this year. Also, I normally don't include multiplayer games on my best of the year lists, because the game I loved in January could turn into a pile of neon-colored slop by December. This one didn't, which is why it made the list. Yes, it's had its ups and downs, but despite my mixed feelings, I still put close to 100 hours in it during its first month alone. So without further ado, everyone stand and salute Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 is... Look, do you really need me to explain why the biggest game of the year is good? Next. So Iron Lung was one of my favorite games of 2022, primarily because of how committed it was to its core concept. You pilot a submarine with no windows in an ocean of blood and photograph anomalies. That's it. It's only an hour long, but every minute of it is terrifying. That's all I want, really. A simple concept that's well executed and doesn't overstay its welcome. And my next game certainly fits the bill. Buckshot Roulette doesn't waste your time with extraneous lore and fancy cutscenes. All you need to know is that you're in the ass end of the world and sitting across from a disembodied head who wants to play Russian roulette with a shotgun. A random assortment of live and blank shells are loaded, you're both handed some items, and it's off to the races. Again, a simple concept, but Buckshot Roulette doesn't stray from it, and the result is a short, but incredibly nerve-wracking game where careful planning and a healthy dose of luck are needed to survive each round. But it's the off-kilter presentation that sold me on the game. The muffled hard bass echoing from the club below you, the aging technology cluttering the room, and the cherry on top is a fittingly morbid sense of humor, which I greatly appreciated. All of this works in creating an absorbing, but nonetheless disquieting experience. Until you dive into the multiplayer, because depending on who you play with, it's either extremely tense or a ridiculous farce. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I just see you pick up the shotgun and I see you immediately turn to me. Greg, just fucking shoot someone, you bastard.
Sure thing.
I really should have bullied you like that, I apologize.
It's fine. It's fine.
I deserve that.
Either way, a hearty recommendation from me, especially if you can recruit some friends to play with you. Everybody say hello, make some noise for YouTube.
Hello to YouTube, everyone. Make some noise. Sam, did you just peek your mic?
Trepang 2 is fear. Sorry, accidentally skipped my intro. Let me start over. You know what? That is my intro. Seriously, just look at it. You control a mute super soldier with enhanced reflexes, it mixes horror and military elements together, and the shotgun sounds like God slamming his car door. You can call it a tribute all you want, but that doesn't change the fact that this is just fear with a fresh coat of paint, which is not even remotely a bad thing. And to give credit where it's due, it feels like a proper sequel to the original Fear. And I say this as someone who thinks Fear 2 is pretty good. But what do the millennials say? Y'all ain't ready for that conversation yet? Clap emoji. This plays much better than Fear 2, though. It's like someone looked at the original game and went, this is great, but what if you could stick grenades to people and throw them? What if you could turn invisible? What if your gun was pizza? What if you could dual-wield shotguns? See, this is why it's impossible to complain about Trepang 2. It's not as scary as Fear. Dual-wield shotguns. The backrooms level is stupid and out of place. Dual-wield shotguns. The story is underwhelming. Shut up. Dual-wield shotguns. Dual-wield shotguns. Need I say more? I don't consider it a good year unless I've played at least one game that made me tear up. something that caused a pang in my otherwise dull life. This year, I expected either Hellblade 2 or Imposter Factory to do that. You already know what I thought of Hellblade 2, and as for Imposter Factory, well, it just didn't click with me. It's not a bad game, but I don't know. I played it in one sitting and went, that was good, but I didn't think about it much afterward. What Remains of Edith Finch, on the other hand?
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
I'm not going to spend too much time with this game since it's short and I don't want to spoil it, but What Remains of Edith Finch reminded me that I'm not sick of walking sims. I'm just sick of the pretentious ones. Those games that think walking through empty areas while someone babbles in the background is what makes for a deep experience. It doesn't. Having a poignant story does, and in the case of Edith Finch, it's a heartbreaking anthology exploring life, death, and how we fail to appreciate the former and cope with the latter.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
What also sets it apart from most walking sims is how creative the presentation is. Each story has a theme unique to each character. There's one involving a little girl that leans into the overactive imagination many kids have. She dreams about turning into an owl, a shark, a Lovecraftian beast. Hang on, this kid's reading Lovecraft? But I've said too much already. Just go play it, alright?
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
I had a hard time deciding whether this game or its sequel should go on my best of the year list. My primary rule is that only one game per series is allowed. In the event of a tie, I pick the game that I feel represents the series at its peak. So as much as I enjoyed the co-op in Dead Rising 2, which I technically played twice this year, my fourth spot goes, fittingly, to Dead Rising 4. Yeah, you saw that joke coming from a mile away.
Say, buddy, you mentioned something about research for a story.
That's right. Got a tip that something big's happening.
In a nowhere little town like that? They sure didn't mention anything about it on TV.
Yeah, well, I'm freelance, pal. I don't make my living waiting for the TV to tell me what to cover.
Dead Rising is far from perfect, but its flaws are outweighed by how engaging and cathartic it is. You've got 3 in-game days to complete every story mission and escape them all. Time management is key, as well as figuring out what you should prioritize, because you can't do everything. Time limits in games are often obnoxious, but in Dead Rising, they lend a considerable weight to your successes and failures. Rescuing 3 survivors and killing 2 bosses is extremely satisfying when you know you're still on time for the next story mission. Likewise, it's hard not to feel crestfallen when you've spent several minutes trying to escort a survivor only for them to go out like that biker dude in Dawn of the Dead. It's a hard game, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Your, girlfriend sent me to find you.
Who? Jesse? Damn it! Okay, we'll have to talk about this later. You know how to use that gun?
I've never fired at a person.
The story is not very original, but it's an enjoyable mix of horror and humor. Frank West is a likable protagonist who, surprisingly, has a decent character arc, going from snarky and self-centered to determined and altruistic. And the opening level sets the tone perfectly, as you fly over the streets of Willamette and observe how far everything's gone to hell. It's not for everyone, but for those looking for something unique and challenging, I strongly recommend Dead Rising. Plus, what other game lets you wear a bear mask and hit zombies with a chair?
You know how to use this?
Kinda. I've covered wars, you know.
Hey, AAA industry, come here for a second. Watch this. See that? More of that, please. If the overwhelming success of this game has taught me anything, it's that people miss the 360 era, because that's what Space Marine 2 is, a beefed up 360 game, and a damn good one at that. It features just about everything you'd expect from a 360 game. Campaign? Check. Co-op campaign? Double check. A not-so-great tacked-on multiplayer? Oh, you betcha. Every minute of Space Marine 2 was a joy to play through with my friends, and reminded me how much I missed these types of co-op games. Remember Left 4 Dead and Gears of War? This plays like a combo of the two, merging the horde mechanics of the former with the weighty movement and gunplay of the latter. But it also does a fantastic job of building on the first Space Marine's foundation, greatly improving the melee and adding these ultra-gory finishers that are just It's a grand old time, and I'd strongly recommend it even if you aren't a Warhammer fan. That said, you should either play or watch a recap of the first Space Marine. It's a pretty direct sequel, which I was happy to see since that game ended on a huge cliffhanger. Eat shit! Anyway, I'm sick of live service slop. Just give me a 9-hour-long campaign with cool set pieces and fun gameplay like this, and my battle brothers and I will buy it in droves. The Emperor wills it, after all. I mean, duh. I reviewed Metal Hellsinger earlier this year, so I'll just mention something I didn't in my video. The DLC tracks are fucking fantastic. Dream of the Beast is the fan favorite, but Swallow the Fire is my jam. The mix of clean and harsh vocals combined with the over-the-top lyrics put this right at the top of my list of favorite tracks in the game. Too good. You already know how much I love this game, so let's move on to my number one. So my favorite game I played this year was not some obscure indie gem or overlooked masterpiece. It's part of an extremely successful franchise that's been covered to death in articles and video essays. I know there's a trend among YouTubers to say that something popular is bad or overrated, but you know what? Fuck that noise. Have you considered that maybe a thing is popular for one simple reason? It's actually good? Look at Breaking Bad, Half-Life, Arcane, Dark Souls. Ooh, speaking of Dark Souls.
Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
It was a toss-up between this and Metal Hellsinger, but Dark Souls 3 gets the edge for having the superior boss fights. And also for wasting a month of my life. Yes, I know I'm late to the party on this one, but Dark Souls 3 still deserves all the praise it gets. It scratches an itch that few games do. It has an impressively bleak but beautiful atmosphere. There's a considerable depth to the character creator. It's difficult without being unfair. And the boss fights? I mean, what else can you say that hasn't already been said? Put simply, Dark Souls 3 is fantastic, and you should totally play it. But please make sure you don't accidentally leave Sigurd in a well for half the game like I did. Yes, it's true, stop laughing. I was just about to fight the Lord of Cinder when I suddenly remembered, oh shit, I was supposed to help Sigurd. With great haste, I rushed back to the cleansing chapel well, and you'll find this hard to believe, but I swear I heard him singing. It sounded a little something like this.
I'm in a well, 'cause of you I fell, you put me down. I'm in a well, I need a ladder, just drop it down. You look at me like I'm a total stranger, but can you see that I'm in real danger? Throw me a rope, and please don't let me drown.
Well, that certainly was a thing that just happened. Anyway, congratulations! You made it to the end of the video. Now, I don't want to keep you here much longer since you probably have a Christmas party to get to or something. But before you go, why don't you grab some eggnog and join me in a toast? A toast to the past 3 years of Walrus Studios, to 2025, and to you, my fellow research assistants, for all your support. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to one and all. What? What?
I mean, I didn't think the eggnog was that bad.